Well, we're back at Low Man Rods for another episode, and we're going to show you more behind the scenes and new details on the 5-window. And I'm going to start off saying that I lied to you. I lied in telling you that I was not going to show you the back end of the car, and I originally thought that I would not, but after seeing it, I think it needs to be appreciated. There's so much work in the back end of the car that if you have the time, the money, and the skills to make it, then more power to you, because there is a small fortune in the back end of the car and the gas tank. So instead of you thinking once it's all painted that it was just easy to make this, it's all custom. So I think I'm going to show you the back end of the car and hopefully appreciate it, and I'll show you some of the details, but it is all one-off gas tank on the back. So we'll try to show you that here today. But let's start from the front, and maybe we'll see if Timmy or somebody can get on camera with me and share a few more. It's really getting to the end here at Low Man Rods. We have a few more details, and I'll kind of start showing you the car here a little bit. But the headlights are on, so these are all Greening Auto Company. They're starting to get the headlights all wired. So you'll see they made these pieces at the bottom, and it's all like a cloth wire, so I thought that would look good. So it's got the Johnson's hot rods. These are the Johnson's hot rods headlight and shock assembly, but this is all fabbed here, again molded into the frame rail. That was all Steadfast hot rods, Ride Tech shocks. SoCal Speed Shop, thank you SoCal Speed Shop. They really hooked us up on the front and rear brakes. So it's got their setup on the front, the calipers, and matching on the rear. The custom fan shroud. So again, this is all handmade here at Low Man Rods. They made the fan shroud. The entire block, if you have not seen this already, the entire block on this car is completely smooth. The heads are smooth. It is a 327. It's all been gone through. These are motor mounts that Steadfast Hot Rods makes. But again, the entire block, everything's been smooth. Everything will be painted. They also filled in these holes here at Low Man Rods on the firewall. So it is original firewall, but it has been massaged in certain places. And you'll notice instead of the steering assembly coming out this way, it comes out more straight, so we have more room. Low Man Rods made the upper and lower radiator hoses. They've reworked the whole grill shell to make sure all the hood ornament and everything fits. So there's the lower radiator hose. They also, again, fabbed this bracket, so all that will be all smooth to move the alternator down below, so up top is all clean. Let's see here. I think that's a lot underneath the hood. We still have the sway bar. We're waiting on the new sway bar to come back. They have the windshield all working now and cranking out. The cowl vent all cranks out. Let's go inside the car. For those of you that have seen it, these again are all new drip rails. Steadfast Hot Rods did that. The roof is all smooth, but it's all butt welded up against, so that all that metal work, it's a Walden Speed Shop insert, but it's all, you'll have to see this in person, just how much work is in the roof, and most people don't understand how much work is just in this roof, but it does bolt in from the inside, so you'll see it all kind of bolts in all the way around. They do have really most of the inside done, so we do have, I'm going to sit in here, we have the Johnson's Hot Rods insert in. We have the Johnson's Hot Rod shift handle, the tunnel, the firewall, all that metal work was all done by Steadfast Hot Rods. It does have the Steadfast Hot Rods steering wheel as well, so it kind of matches, it goes along with the other themes throughout the car with the holes. It matches the tunnel, and it matches even the shape of the pedals, and we have the gas pedal assembly out now. Steadfast Hot Rods is going to make a smaller gas pedal that is machined and matches these two pedals. Excuse me. Again, the cowl vent is all working, so we have the handle underneath. The column drop was done by Steadfast Hot Rods. It was shortened, but again, the holes match the steering wheel and more. And then they're working on, I came up today to check out the switches. So we're gonna have all the switches hidden underneath. So I have the headlight switch underneath, the ignition switch is underneath, and then we have an electric brake underneath, emergency brake that'll be electric instead of having a handle inside of the car. If you have not seen the steering column, again, instead of the steering column coming down where my feet are, the steering column was built where the steering wheel, I can sit here and hold from the top of the steering wheel, so it's at a different angle instead of having to drive from the bottom. And then it goes straight and then it goes down, so all the knuckles go down, but they fabbed this piece to hide all that internally. And then this was all fabbed, and then even the turn signal, the wiring is all fabbed in this little metal bung, and then it goes up in the column, is all hidden. So a ton of work just inside the car, more than you can ever imagine just inside of the car being done. But again, it has 2 firewalls in here as well, and the support is all up inside for this, so this column isn't moving at all. But 2 firewalls, the outer firewall and the inner firewall, this will all be painted, so you'll see some of that. These pieces all match as well, so those were all machined. The wiring will go through a floor and be all hidden. All inside, this is all done in here as well, so the rear window mechanism all works, and all that has been powder coated. Doors are all latching, so those click so much nicer. And again, they've done all the metalwork, low man rods here to gap the doors, work any at the bottom, so this is all brought in and flush. So all the way around, they've reworked all inside here as well. So just making sure that the gaps are all really good on here. But again, you notice the doors are just shutting and latching really well. Coming around the back, I'll show you the gas tank here in a minute. We do have, again, the one-off wheels, so they're one-off spindle mounts. Inside the rear here, we have SoCal. Again, thank you, SoCal, for hooking us up for the rear disc brakes. These are a Willwood brake, a disc brake, but Low Man Rods machined a bracket to actually make these work with the same calipers and have a rear disc brake setup. So it was so open, I did not want to see a drum in there. I wanted to see a disc brake. And it does have, this car has front and rear sway bars, front and rear disc brakes, so it should handle, stop, steer, everything really good. Again, just coming around this side, the doors are all gapped, all latching really well. And if you watch in a previous video, they had to trim the inner wood up in here and bring all this in because it was hitting inside the door, and these were bent out a little bit. So they've reworked all this metal section and brought it in, so we have gaps all the way around the doors. So again, the doors are shutting terrific now. Okay, sorry I'm coughing, and I haven't been well the last 2 weeks, so I'm trying to be as motivated here as I can for you on camera. Okay, the back end of the car. We were originally not going to show you the back end of the car. We had to keep some things surprised. I'm not going to show you color or tell you the color. Don't ask what the color is going to be. I'll tell you it's going to be pink or something like that. But after seeing so much again on the back end of the car, it started at Steadfast Hot Rods, just the center section, and they did the spreader bar and the frame rails, but there's so many hours and so much time into this. I want you to see it. I want you to appreciate it. And when you see the car in person, it may be something that you go and actually take a look at. And someone may think, well, what's the big deal? I could do that. Well, more power to you if you can. But it's going to take you a lot more time than what you think. So we're going to show you the back end of the car now. So you don't see it, all the work that's gone into it, but I'm going to show you a little bit. So the spreader bar is actually inserted into the gas tank. So there's an upper and a lower, so it's kind of tucked in between. This was just all a flat panel when we got it, so they had to take all this apart and roll this bead in here. We wanted it to look like a factory tank with the bead, and then they've reworked this whole gap and brought all this metal work up to have a gap in between the body and the tank. And then you can kind of see where the corners had to be shaped to come out. So the whole gas tank slides over the frame rail, the spreader bar comes out, and then you slide the whole gas tank in over the frame rails, but it's perfectly gapped on the upper and the lower. So they had to make the corners, and that goes all in. They had to make the bottom, and then that's all rounded here at the back. And then even the metal work here on the side, so this was all cut out, but you could see so much in there, so they formed this metal piece here, and it curves in, and then it matches and hides that body line. It kind of goes in and covers that whole area around the gas tank to the body. We're still going to do a little bit more rounding here at the edge of the body. And then on the taillights, again, thank you to our vendor partner, Greening Auto Company. We got the headlights and the taillights again from Greening Auto Company. So our members do get discounts from Greening Auto Company. But these are an LED taillight, but Low Man Rods fabbed, and these are all one-off stanchions. So they kind of curve to try to kind of match and mimic the front headlight stanchions. So they made all these pieces to bring the taillights out. But again, you'll notice the whole gas tank, the spreader bar, all curves with the body. It's all gapped, but again, all the metal work in and around. Of course, you still got to add the fuel pump, so that fuel pump is already done. And if you notice, do you notice anything that looks like it's missing? Anything on the gas tank? Comment below what you think is missing. Where do we actually put the fuel in? So underneath, you'll see it curves all underneath the gas tank as well into the quick change. And then they did the tips of the exhaust as well, so those are all flared. So that is all ready and done. But again, just showing you this side just from a different angle. We have all the metal work, the taillights, everything's been gapped and smooth. But just a ton of work. Those of you that can figure out how much work is just in that, and again, making all of it, it still will be taken off any of the stuff. I think they have most of it all welded together, but it'll all need to be pressure tested and checked out before finally going on here and finishing it up. But I really like the back end of the car. It really changed it rather than sliding a stock gas tank on here, but it did cost a pretty penny for all the metal work, a one-off gas tank, the spreader bar. Again, all the rails had to be modified, and just again, the gaps in the spreader bar is all done here as well. Just the fit and the finish to try to make this thing as perfect as possible and as different as possible. Yeah, we hope you really appreciate this, but thanks to Low Man Rods for finishing this piece up, because it was a big job. I told Timmy here how many hours I think we probably have in it, or how much money, and yeah, I could have bought another car for how much I probably have in, a cheaper car, but how much I have in just in the back end of the car. So don't tell my wife this, but she does see all the bills. That's a joke. But thanks to Low Man Rods for really dialing in the back end of the car. This was the biggest thing that needed to be done, and there is a ton of hours in the back. Thank you again to all of our vendor partners, whether it be Low Man Rods, whether it be they give you discounts. Greening Auto Company, they really hooked us up on the headlights and the taillights. They're great as a vendor partner. You got to check out Greening Auto Company. Thank you SoCal Speed Shop, who really hooked us up on the brakes, the brake calipers. They're a great vendor partner. They give our members discounts. Johnson's Hot Rods, they're not a vendor partner, but those guys always take care of us. We're running their headlight stanchions. We have their dash insert. We have their shift handle. I know we always run other pieces on our cars from Johnson's Hot Rods. They always take care of us. So check out Johnson's Hot Rods as well out of Alabama. I'm trying to think. Thanks to Steadfast Hot Rods for getting this car really to a shape to start this build and everything for us, and doing so many one-off parts. And again, I'm going to come back to Low Man Rods, so finishing up and doing a lot of one-off pieces throughout the build. So we really appreciate everyone involved, but thank you, Matt, Timmy, Mac, everyone here at Low Man Rods. Give them a follow at Low, L-O-M-A-N, Rods. Check them out on Instagram. We'll tag them in this video below here as well. We'll give you one more walk around before the kind of the end of this episode, and maybe we'll show you a little bit more here what we're trying to work on. Okay, well, we're back on the road. Thanks again, Low Man Rods. It was always good to come up here and see just some of the progress on the build, how it's going. Really kind of reviewing it with them. There's not much left. They have the drive shaft being made. We have a new rear bracket for the rear disc brakes. They're wiring the front headlights in. I'm trying to think of what else. They're going to put the hood on today just to make sure all the gaps are good there before they mount the headlights, the wires going through the grill shell. So I think we have the front sway bar, and they have the brake lines going to the brake calipers and so forth from the chassis. And pretty much it's going to be coming back and ready to go paint and body. So just a few more weeks and we'll have the car back in the house and ready to go to paint and body, hopefully sometime next year. So it's been a long road. I want to say again, we bought the car in 2019 or 2020. So by the time this car is done, it'll be a 6-year build, and not hard 6 years where it's non-stop. Let's go, and it's being worked on all the time, every week, but it's been I guess steady here and there, but it's allowed us to budget through it a little bit. But thanks for watching today's video. If you like today's video, you like the progress of the car, please give us a thumbs up. We hope you like seeing the gas tank, and again, not seeing it go through the whole process. I've seen it go through the whole process and know how many hours are actually in the back end of the car. It's crazy if you knew how much time and hours are in making a one-off piece and doing all that metal work just in the back. So thank you to everyone for making that one-off piece on the car. I think it makes a big difference, even though most people couldn't stomach how much it costs. So give us a thumbs up. Check out the website, opposingcylinders.com. We have a lot of new listings up there. Please consider joining us as a member. Check out all of our vendor partners. We do have more vendor partners that we're adding here as well. But our members get discounts on all these parts, supplies, storage, shipping your vehicle, and so much more. So we appreciate it, your support. You can either become a club member where it's a per month thing, or you can become a crew member and you just pay for the full year. You get a discount if you do it that way, and you're also entered into several of our drawings, just free giveaways if you're a crew member. So please consider us joining us as a club or a crew member. Check out the website, opposingcylinders.com, and we have new and exciting things being announced here in the coming weeks and coming months, and we're almost into that new year. And if we don't tell you before, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And thank you for watching today's episode. And we will see you on the road in January back in California for the Grand National Roadster Show. Thanks. Have a great weekend.